That's absolutely it. Finished. Game over, man.
We're digressing a little bit, but
they've already banned Chinese cars in America. Oh no, they haven't. Yes, they have. I made a lot of money, and then I got out at the top, and then it came down, and then it went up, and I got out at the top again, and now it's come down, and it's.
What makes you think What makes you think the retail audience isn't getting back in? Our next guest correctly called Bitcoin's downside. He actually also correctly called the market top not too long ago. We're going to find out what he thinks next is going to happen to equities, gold, Bitcoin, and the entire geopolitical situation that could impact the global economies and markets alike. Welcome back to the show, Clem. You've made a number of important calls in the last year. I just want to congratulate you. I mean, not everybody is right all the time, but the important things we have to consider and note: Bitcoin, you had wanted to short Bitcoin at $100,000. That turned out to be absolutely the right call. And I'm going to ask you about Bitcoin today. Right before the Iran war happened, you had said it's going to happen any minute now. It was a day before we aired that, and then a day after, bombs started dropping. So several things you looked at this year turned out to be correct. So I want to get your update
gold and
on
silver.
This pivot. Gold and silver as
that.
well.
Yeah,
no, I haven't forgotten that. I want to get to that. Yeah, gold and silver. You also said it was a bubble waiting to pop, and it has. Now that these things have popped, though, Clem, are you getting back in on Bitcoin, gold, and silver?
Under 40,000, and I'll start itching. Gold at 3,500, I'll start itching, and I'll probably start scratching when it comes to gold. I'll just DCA in. You see, I'm having this sort of turnover in my brain at the moment on doing things differently. Now, the way that people tend to do things, and I do it, and I've done it for 30 years and made a lot of money, is I go, oh, I like that, bang, and I buy it. Where really, one should actually just watch these things and then make a decision. And, you know, it's like, if gold goes down to $3,500 an ounce, which it could do, it could go lower. Why not, rather than go plunge, why not just start buying it bit by bit? You know, buy 50 grand a month or something. You know, why plunge? So I think I'm going to not plunge into gold at 3.5. I'm going to start to dollar cost average. Okay. And that, I think you'll find around that level, it's going to go sideways. Yeah. And there's a very simple way of looking at that. And the people hate simple ways. They like it to be complicated and they like to be clever. And I like to be stupid. I like to draw my charts with Crayola. Oh, look at that obvious line. Right. And what happens with the hockey sticks when they go up like a rocket and down like a rock is, and I've seen this ever since I was a child. So I literally was looking at charts like this in the 70s when I was 12 years old. And they go up and then they come down half the way. And it's that simple. They overshoot, they reprice, they get momentum, they overshoot, they correct down to the right price, and then they settle there. And that's about 3,500 on gold. Now, Bitcoin, I mean, if it gets under 40,000, as I'm expecting, and it could get under 30, I'm not expecting it, somewhere between 40 and 30, it's going to be very interesting for the next cycle. And there might not be a next cycle, because all the cycles we've seen up to today with Bitcoin have been B2C, and now it's B2B. The C's are out. You know, all the believers, all the normal people that rode that rail with Bitcoin, they're not there anymore. It's all institutions, and all institutions, they don't care about Satoshi. They don't care about the dream, and they don't care about autonomy and sovereignty and anti-money and hard money and all that good stuff. They don't care about that. All they care about is getting their fangs into it and draining all the liquidity out and buying houses and jets. So now that crypto is under the control of B2B, it's not a good thing. I mean, Satoshi would turn in his grave, probably is turning in his grave. Yeah. And so I think there's a good chance that Bitcoin 50-50 has had its time. And I'll know later. And I mean, who's going to go to jail at the bottom of this market? Answers on a postcard, right? So there's going to be all that.
You and I have been talking for years, Clem, and you were very bullish on the entire crypto space back in 2021, 2020. What
Yeah.
happened? What happened to that old
I
Clem?
made a lot of money, and then I got
You
out
made
at the top, and then it came down, and then it went up, and I got out at the top again, and now it's come down, and it's going
What
to come
makes you
down
think
further.
what makes you think the retail audience isn't getting back in?
Well, they're not there. They're just not there. You could just go onto all the websites and not hear anybody be, going yah yah like they did back in 2017 and 2021. It's gone. Remember that word, institutional, right?
Yeah.
It's meant to be outside of the financial system. That's what the Bitcoin was meant to be about. Well, now it's totally inside. It's meant to be no one controls it. Well, now it's totally controlled. It's meant to be outside of government. Now it's inside of government. And, so the whole point, the whole methodology, the whole idea, the whole thing that drove it, that is dead. Now, does Bitcoin live on? And I think it's touch and go. I really do think it's touch and go. And if I read another 10 stories about people being hacked and millions being stolen, that will be tomorrow. Yeah, it's absolutely pestilential, the robberies that are going on in crypto. And it's not just like someone went into a bank and stole 5 million. It's not Ocean's 11. It's Ocean's 11 times 20. These are the biggest robberies of all time. And I was looking at a crypto punk, because underneath it all I'm a nerd, and I love crypto, and I want a crypto punk, and I don't mind paying 50 grand for one, but I'm going, someone's going to steal it. Why would you buy that if someone's going to steal it? And who's going to you just wake up one morning, it'll be gone. So the whole basis of crypto, the driver's gone. Now it belongs to institutions, and all the risk is still there. So I think different with stable coins, that is going to become infrastructure for sure. But the idea of Bitcoins and of Ethereum, that particularly Bitcoin, that really is touch and go. The idea of computing on the blockchain that's distributed, that might change. It will go, you could say, crypto blockchain is going to go through another cycle of invention. That's going to happen. But what will come out of it will be a long way away from the original dream of Satoshi. And Bitcoin is under threat. It's under threat purely by the fact that it's now controlled by a bunch of looters, i.e. Wall Street. And they will, given half a chance, and they've got several chances, suck all the blood out of it. And that could be the next 4-year cycle. So we'll have to wait and see.
So you think the previous 4-year cycles have been driven by retail buying and selling?
All of them, up until even this one to an extent, but not so much.
So when people tell you the 4-year cycle is dead, would you agree or disagree?
I would say it's on intensive care.
Okay.
And the more it goes Wall Street, the more close to the graveyard it is.
Gold is still trading much higher than last year in this multi-year bull cycle, and First Mining Gold, today's sponsor, is a Canadian developer built to capitalize on this historic bull run. First Mining Gold is advancing two of Canada's largest gold projects, Springpole in Ontario at 5.6 million ounces with very robust economics, and Dupaquet in Quebec's prolific Abitibi region at 6 million ounces. Springpole is in the final stages of an 8-year federal review, with a decision expected any day now. Momentum is building. Several Indigenous communities back it, and when two signed last week alone, the stock jumped nearly 35% in a single day. A provincial EA decision should follow this summer, clearing the way for Springpole to become one of the next mines built in Canada. First Mining Gold trades at a discount to peers, with these catalysts not yet priced in, according to analyst reviews, and each and every $100 move in gold adds $230 million to net asset value. You can learn more about First Mining Gold in the link down below, or scan the QR code here.
I see. Now, why 40,000? Let me just pull up a chart of Bitcoin here. Bitcoin has fallen 50% from its highs, more than 50% from its highs in prior bull and bear cycles. It's down exactly more than 50% now at 60,000. Previously, I've noted this before with you as well, Bitcoin has had a habit of retracing back to its prior bull cycle peak for its trough. Case in point, in 2022, it troughed around $16,000, $17,000. That happened to be the peak back in 2017, late 2017. the prior bull cycle. It's already gone down below 69,000. It's 2021 peak. I'm just curious why you think it's going to go down another 30% from here.
Okay, once upon a time, I used to be a big fan of my old friend, Professor Mandelbrot. And, I had some interaction with him back in the day. And fractals are self-similar and self-affined. Now, that's all gobbledygook. But what I would say to you, look at the last time it did it. And then imagine that happens again. Where's it going to? And if you look at the one before, you'll see it again. Then you look at the one before. There's 7 of these, and they're all pretty similar. Yeah, the only thing that happened was the last cycle, you got this double top. And you've kind of got this double top again. But look at the fall. Yeah. And look where it came back down to. And the whole thing's almost a photograph. I mean, it's not quite a photograph, but it definitely rhymes. And it comes back down to that first pull. If you look at, I'm pointing at my screen, you can't see me, but if you look at the rise, there's a first pause, very, very early on. Okay, there you go. Now go to the first pause on the cycle before.
Okay.
There you go. That's where it's coming. It's coming down there.
Okay.
Yeah, not to that
that's
point,
20 grand.
Not to the point. The first pause. And what does your chart tell you that price is?
That's about 40,000. Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying.
There you go.
All right.
And of course, you could just draw a line straight across the bottom in 2017 and the bottom in 2020 below, whenever it was, and see where that ends up. That's probably about 30,000.
Yeah, it does. It does behave, pretty symmetrically, historically speaking. Yeah, go ahead.
David, I saw something very funny today. I was on X because I'm silly. I'm going on X, and I've been talking about the 4-year cycle for years now. Yeah, and then there's someone going, "Oh, it's the 4-year cycle," and the guy from Coinbase goes, "Yeah." Well, you should have said that a couple of years ago and saved the people a lot of money, mate.
Well, okay. Well, a lot of the influencers on crypto have disappeared. What about the rest of the crypto space? That leads me to my next point. We're talking about Bitcoin now. It's in intensive care. Is the rest of crypto also in intensive care?
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, there's this huge problem that America's only just starting to address, and that is global in online scamming. Okay. And there's a massive, massive evil apocalypse in Asia where tens of thousands of people are being murdered every year to scam Americans. Now, most people don't know about this, but there are concentration camps in places like Burma, concentration camps, focus on that, where people get kidnapped and locked up in concentration camps, and the only way they get to go or get fed is by scamming Americans. Yeah, and the Americans and the Vietnamese and the Chinese just shut down a big outfit that was doing billions of dollars in this and running concentration camps where there's something like 200,000 people who are forced labor, called slaves, right? In these camps, forced labor camps. That's a concentration camp, and their life expectancy is basically 10 years and they're young people, so they should be living another 50. So 10% of them are dying every year, right? Which is, you would do if you're in a concentration camp. You die, right?
Okay, and
that hasn't really come out. And you can.
How does that relate to crypto?
Well, because they're getting paid in crypto.
All right.
That's how they get paid, right? So there's all these things going on, and all this pestilential scamming that's going on of people via online. Yeah, is all linked up with crypto, and America seems to have decided to shut this down. It should have been shut down a decade ago. But people will hear what I say and go, "That's not true. That can't be right." Go and look it up. Prince's Group. Go to Wikipedia. You'll see it. Right? Forced labor camps with hundreds of thousands of people scamming Americans online and and laundering it all in crypto. Yeah, and this is a big move, and that's going to cramp Bitcoin. And Iran, if we don't have a breakout of the war in the next couple of weeks again, Iran produces 25% of the Bitcoin, and one of the reasons for that is that they can launder the oil money through Bitcoin and, funnily enough, gold. Yeah, and all these things are pointing against crypto right now, and they're real. I mean, it sounds ridiculous that only a few percentage people in the world know about these forced labor camps in Asia that are built to scam Americans out of their money, and there are hundreds of thousands of slaves there. You would have thought it'd be on the front page every day, wouldn't you? But there it is. Go look it up. And that's all attached to all this stuff. And they're going to be clamping down. Please, God, they clamp that down, get rid of that. Well, that's going to hurt. If Iran gets normalized, they're going to probably can pull away from Bitcoin because they don't need it anymore. So that'll hurt Bitcoin. And then you've got Wall Street, who's got this $1 trillion target over Bitcoin's head, because if they can liquidate all of Bitcoin, they'll make $1 trillion, and they like $1 trillion. That's the kind of money they like. So
Yeah.
a lot of things are pointing in the wrong direction for Bitcoin. Blockchain's another matter, and
Okay.
that will pan out in the next 2 or 3 years. What happens next in Bitcoin, in blockchain?
So
You weren't
let's talk
expecting
about
that,
gold
were you?
now. Yeah, I mean that's an interesting perspective. The other thing I want to add, and maybe you can comment on, I've noticed during the peak of the bull cycle last time in 2021, a lot of the people that I talked to in the Bitcoin crypto space, blockchain space, were Wall Street people who moved into the blockchain space to build something on blockchain. These were very talented, high-ranking executives at major financial institutions building the
That's one way
equivalent
of
in the
calling them.
blockchain space. Yeah, now a lot of the
I would
people
call-
are moving into the AI space. So,
I
yes.
would call them people that couldn't cut it on Wall Street and got kicked out and thought they might try their hand at crypto.
I don't know about that. I've met some pretty smart people, smarter than me at least. So what does that say about me? But the point I'm trying to make, Clem, is that the talent seems to be moving into tech, moving into AI, and I wonder what that says about not just sentiment, but the future of who's building what.
Well, AI is the future. There's no future without it. I mean, there's something that dawned on me today, and it's a horrible thought, but you people can think about this, right? Electricity is destiny. If America don't get enough electricity, that's it, finished, right? China already has 250% more electricity than America. Now, electricity is AI, and there ain't no second place in AI. And if America doesn't keep up with China, or rather, if China catches, which they're only a heartbeat away from catching American AI right now, they're stealing it. I'm sure you read the news about Alibaba and his 40 thieves stealing all the blood, or 25,000 thieves stealing Anthropic's work. Yeah. So if China catches up and pulls past American AI, you can forget your democracy. You're over. You're over. There ain't going to be no democracy if America loses the AI race, because it will be proven that a authoritarian non-democracy will win against a democracy that can't get its act together.
Okay.
250% more energy in China. Think about that. Now, there's another thing that people need to think about. They say, oh, there's a Sputnik moment. Oh, well, the Sputnik moment was when a bankrupt economy, all they could do was launch a blooming rocket. That's the only thing they could do better than America, the dominant manufacturing country in the world. Yeah, and the dominant manufacturing powerhouse in the world, America, panicked and got its skates on and landed on the moon in a few years. That was the Sputnik moment. Well, who is now the country with no economy and no manufacturing that can only launch rockets? And who is the 800-pound gorilla of manufacturing? Sadly, the tables are turned. The only thing that America can do that China can't do better and more of is launch rockets. Yeah, because they're doing robots so well, China, that they're going to ban Chinese robots in America. And people can say, well, that can't be true. Go look it up. They've already banned Chinese cars in America. Oh, no, they haven't. Yes, they have. It's touch and go now. Touch and go. So if this AI bubble has burst and that's it, well, that's it. Mm-hmm. That's absolutely it. Finished. Game over, man.
We're digressing a little bit, but yeah. What's the, on that note? What's the future of Europe as well? If America is falling behind in manufacturing, what does Europe produce that the rest of the world really needs?
Tricky, very, very tricky, and they know it. They absolutely know it. They've woken up to that in the same way as America woke up to China. Well, Donald Trump woke up to it first, and then suddenly the whole country woke up to it. Europe is now waking up to it. And what's it going to do? In a sense, it's been pushed by America into the arms of China, because America's going, yeah, Europe, we want tariffs on you too. Yeah, and you're all a bunch of idiots, and we're maybe pulling out of NATO. I mean, what's Europe going to do? It can bend the knee to China. Why not? It's a long way away. All right, Genghis Khan nearly got there, but there's a choice. It bent the knee to America, and now America's not its friend anymore. Who's it going to bend its knee to? So it's a good question, but Europe is waking up to it, and it's got a major challenge on its hands, because if America hasn't got enough energy, Europe is well down that wrong end of that path. I mean, the Germans blew up some power stations because they didn't want any energy, but energy is life, yeah, and energy is AI, and ain't no second place. So yeah. I mean,
by the way,
even I was going to say even, but the UK is also getting it on. They announced a big budget for rare earth production in the UK only a few days ago. So the penny's dropping. The penny's dropping. And it's going to be absolute rock and roll out there. Absolute rock and roll.
What would if you're a European, what would you invest in right now? So LNG, gas prices are still high. We can talk about oil in just a minute. And the ECB just raised rates. What do you do?
If you're European?
Yeah.
I don't know, property in Portugal, so you can head for South America quick. There's a lot of goods go. Europe, if you're a European, you get taxed a lot, right? But you do have access to all sorts of good stuff. You do have access to international equities, that you can move your money abroad unless you're Norwegian. And there's plenty of opportunities, because you're in an environment where you're either the quick or the dead. So if you're the quick, you're in great shape. K-shaped economy, heard that one, right? Well, which leg of the K do you want to be on? And you can pick your leg. And, that's what your viewers will be doing. They might feel they're on the wrong leg of the K, but actually they're trying to get on this one. And this money's is big there. And the pickings are rich, right? So if you aim to be on that leg of the K, i.e. where the money is, you'll do real well. And that's open to Europeans as much as it is to Americans. Yeah, whether the countries, whether the states of those countries, whether those polities, blow it or not is another matter. You can, if you've got enough cash, you can go, can't you? And a lot of people in the UK have. That's exactly what they've done. They've gone, I'm off. And in certain countries, you can't do that. You just can't leave. You can't just leave China. Yeah. So, there's plenty of options for people that want to be active and on the up leg of the K. And if people don't realize they can get on it, or feel that they're not capable, or don't want to be bothered, well, unfortunately, it's going to be pretty tough.
Take a listen to what Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan said on a panel just last week.
Arnie said, the middle powers should get together. It's a fantasy. They did that. It's called Europe. And
it is hard to go to a CFR event these days where Europe doesn't get dumped on, I'm afraid.
But Europe. But this is a serious problem. The GDP of Europe has gone from 90% of America to 70%. And at the current, and our views will probably continue to erode over time, because high taxes, I'm not against social safety nets, and we should probably talk about that a little bit too, but they're too high and effective in a lot of countries. They have 100% debt to GDP also, but growing slow is much worse with 100% debt to GDP than growing fast. And they're, kind of anti-business, poor tax structures that stop investment. Capital formation generally drives growth. A lot of that capital is moving here. Like here's some big numbers for you. Our stock exchange is worth, I think, 60, maybe 70 trillion today. Deutsche Börse, 3. The FTSE at UK, 4. The French one, 3. And that is serious stuff. And there's not a deep recognition. So Mario Draghi wrote this great report. That is what they need to do. Have a real European Union, open trade services to everyone in there, have a big common market, have a growth strategy and policies that can drive growth. And
all right, you live in Europe, Clem. Is he right or wrong?
Yes, but things are changing. I mean, a lot of things are changing really fast now. So if you look back, say, before the Wild Man got into Washington, it was all slow. And now he has been a bull in a china shop. And now everything has changed. And I mean, that is one of the real benefits of Trump amongst the negatives. That's a big positive because he has spelled it out in big letters. And a lot of people, like the stuff I was saying earlier, have gone, no, 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 it can't be, it can't be, it can't be. Oh, I'm going to look now. Oh, there it is. Ah. So, you know, he has really vitalized or revitalized all sorts of corners. I mean, you know, they're hopping up and bopping in Greenland right now, for example. But he has absolutely revitalized a lot of issues. So the polite decline, which has been the road for both America and Europe, that has kind of, you know, people now know that that is an option, but it's a pretty disastrous one. So now it's just a question of whether it can be turned around, and the challenge for America to turn it around is massive, absolutely massive, and the same with Europe, and the same with the UK. And yes, everything Dimon says is spot on. Are they going to do it? It's already. These are super tankers. Turning them around, they just don't turn around that fast. Will they be able to change direction quick enough? That's the open question. And really, it's America which is the one that is in the greatest peril, because Europe can poodle along and do its socialist thing. And it can do that for a very, very, very long time. But if America wants to stay the number one, it's got a couple of years to turn it around, because it's not going to be number one for much longer. It might even be the case, if you wanted to be really, really, really down on it, it's no longer the number one. Yeah, because who can do without who? It's touch and go now, isn't it?
Yeah. Let's finish off on gold. Let's go full circle here. We talked about gold in the beginning of the interview. Turkey selling gold made headlines all over social media in the last 2 months now. This is the biggest wave of gold sales in the country's history, exceeding 2 previous episodes that we've also highlighted in our chart. There's all sorts of theories as to why they did that. Some say to prop up the currency. Who knows? Is this the end of central bank buying as we know it of gold for now?
Well, look, my thesis with you over many, 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 many months is gold is for war. And that war, as I've said on your show over and over again, is America versus China, or China versus America over Taiwan. Now, that has been at the very least postponed. And therefore, the demand for gold is going to settle at a different price. The moment you see gold do a run, that's really going to be bad. That's because that means Taiwan is on again. And that, you know, but oh dear, that would be absolutely catastrophic, right? For gold to get back on the it's all about inflation train, it will be gently rising. If it starts to go like that, it's because gold is for war, and there's a big one coming, and that will be catastrophic. And I think that is at least postponed, and at least for 2 or 3 years. And I think actually it's probably now not on at all. Because if they've got any sense, and I believe they have, the Chinese have realized they can do nothing and win. Yeah, all they've got to do is just keep doing what they're doing, and it's inevitable what happens. They've got more energy, they've got all the industry, they've got the America by the throat in propaganda. They've won. And what America's trying to do is turn that around. Can they? It's a mighty challenge. It's a mighty, mighty challenge. And I hope it goes well, because, boy, I don't want to live in a non-democratic world run by the Chinese Communist Party by proxy. And that's what will happen. If America loses the AI war, that's it. It's over. Because a Chinese government who's smarter through AI than the American system, well, what's the outcome of that going to be? Nothing good, right? So it's all down to that. And we will know this summer whether that's going to be a thing or not. Because if this is an AI bubble that's burst, that's it, finished. It's all finished. It's all finished for the West.
I'll close off on this statement here. I've only pulled up 3 asset classes, but there's many others to show. The point I'm trying to make is that last year when we were speaking, Clem, you and I have been talking about how everything was going up to new all-time highs, and the issue was, you know, picking the best out of a field of fast racehorses, so to speak. Either way, you're winning, but you just want to be the fastest one. Now it seems like everything's pulling back. What do you do in this environment?
Right. So the way that I see it is this. This is an example of a pause in a bubble. And if you look at any bubble, there's always big pullbacks. Yeah. The question is it the end or is it the middle? Now, when I look at the .com bubble, we're nowhere near up there. And for this to be the bubble, the AI bubble, then it has to go a lot further. And it's another year or 18 months. So this would make it a pullback. Now, if this is the end of the bubble, well, that's it. Goodbye, Vienna, anyway, right? Because China has got twice as much energy, will win the AI war, will outsmart America, and that'll be that. Yeah. But I think what will happen is you've got a lot of very, 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 very smart people, very rich, powerful, smart people, putting their whole net wealth on the line with AI, because they know, because they're the guys that made it, and they know that this is an amazing thing. And if they don't do it, then that's it. They're finished, and the country's finished, and the West is finished. So they're going hell for leather. And unless the government, who might fear it, because after all, AI is better at words than they are, and that's pretty scary for anybody. If the government lets it run, then it will be great. And if they choke it off, it's all over. So we'll know that very soon, because if we're at the beginning, or maybe a third of the way up the bubble, then that's good, because that will all be built out, and it'll all be doing its AI thing. And there'll be a massive economic boom. All right, there'll be high inflation. That'd be good for gold and silver. The markets will go berserk, and then who knows what they'll do, and everybody will be great. But if America goes into retrenchment and says, "Oh no, we don't need this. No, we don't need our manufacturer back. Oh no, we're just going to be friendly with China. You're just going to eat our heart out," then that's it. It's finished. It's all over. Because that's what China's done. It's hollowed out America. And if it keeps on doing it for another 3 or 4 or 5 years, there won't be anything left.
So buy Chinese stocks? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, right. No. Well, I mean, sure, if you really are that cold.
Okay.
But I won't
Final
be doing
question.
it. But I mean,
Okay.
there's issues. Well, they won't let you buy them, by the way, most of them. They won't let you have them. Funny that.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I mean, there's the H shares index and other things, but yeah, for a lot
I
of
wonder why
companies
that
are
is,
hard
David.
to get to.
I wonder why they won't let you buy their shares. I wonder why that would be.
Well, let's end on this note. So if Bitcoin is going down to possibly 40,000 from 60,000, what does that mean for gold? Are we looking at 3,000, 30?
Bitcoin 30 to 40,000, and it'll settle around there. It might go under 30, but I don't think it will. Gold 3,500. It'll go in and it will find its level, I believe, around there. It might go a little bit lower. It might shake about a lot, but when all is said and done, that's where it'll be, and I'll be DCAing in then, and I will be holding through this market. I mean, I put on 10% on my portfolio in a matter of weeks, and it's all gone back.
Yeah,
but this particular storm, which is one of month end, quarter end, half year end, year end, all at the same time, which is the end of June, that should rectify itself in July, and then we should be off to the races again. If we're not, that probably means a number of other really interesting things that aren't good. Well, maybe they are good, depends on your point of view. But if Donald Trump and his merry crew are now a busted flush because of Iran, and the system says no, we're not having any of this anymore, and we're not having AI, and we don't like that. No. Then that's goodbye Vienna, I think.
On that happy note, let's end there. Where do we follow you, Clem?
Yeah, well, I'm on Substack. You see, I'm not a perma bear. I'm actually bullish because I think America's going to do it, and I think you have to be pretty optimistic to see that. But I do know for sure everybody feels that this is a K-shaped economy, and there's no one's going to send you an invite to be on the right leg of that K. It's open to anybody to get on it. It's about being economically active, and your viewers are just that group. Okay, so I am actually a bull, and to proven otherwise, and we might see a little bit of further action in Iran would be my wild guess. And you should be watching oil. If I'm getting bullish at oil, if oil kicks off, well, that's going to be an interesting sign. So there's a lot to play for, but long term, long term, it's always good to be in equities. It's always good to be in cheap stocks. But the market tends to these days have an issue with month ends and quarter ends and year ends because of the way that funds and behave. And I think that's what we're going through now. And it's wild and not very pleasant. But we will know in early February. And if it goes on a run again, then I would say that we are a third of the way up this bubble. And the top of this bubble, if it is a proper bubble, is got way further to go, and it's nowhere near as it's hard to predict how high it could go, but it will be ridiculous. So you just have to ride it, and then quit when you're ahead and you feel it's gone far enough for you.
Okay, good, Clem. Thank you so much. We'll put the links down below, so follow Clem there. Appreciate your time. We'll speak soon.
Thanks very much, David. Sorry to depress you.
Well, the Vancouver weather does that on its own. I don't really need anybody's help for that. Thank you so much. We'll speak again soon, and thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe.